Welcome back to our Sunday Spotlight now, and a conversation on religion, tolerance, and compassion here in Indianapolis. Dozens of new yard signs popping up across the north side, 3 languages, all with the same message. Some signs of the times are sprouting across Indy's north side, along Illinois, up and down Capitol. In Spanish, Arabic, and English they read, "No matter where you're from, we're glad you are our neighbor."
I first became aware of the signs online. It was a Mennonite church in Virginia.
Sean Coons and his wife are pastors at Fairview Presbyterian at 46th and Capitol. The signs, a way to spread the church's message outside of Sunday's sermon.
It's an important message to get out, to be welcoming. It's a very Christian message that no matter where you're from, we're glad you're our neighbor. And it's a very timely message, and a lot of our members want to be able to kind of make a public witness of being welcoming and then being supportive of all sorts of people.
It's a message that recently thrust former Indianapolis Archbishop Cardinal Joseph Tobin into the national spotlight, standing up for a man facing deportation in New Jersey.
To persecute a fellow like that in the name of some law or politic, I think is basically immoral.
Back here in Indy, different denomination, same message.
Several roles the churches can play. I mean, there's the actual kind of politics and the effects of what any legislation is doing right now. And that can be decided, by politicians, but then there's also the climate and the rhetoric of what's being talked about and how we're talking about other people, how we're talking about immigrants and refugees and neighbors and people who disagree with you. And I think the church has a lot to say about acting out of compassion, acting out of love, not acting out of fear. I think there's a lot of kind of, I don't want to say made up fears, but there's a lot of fears that are being overplayed, and they're just not really based in hard fact. And so, especially in the Christian faith, we're called to act not out of fear of something that maybe possibly could happen, but we're called to act out of love. And so we say, we're going to be welcoming, and maybe it puts us a little more at risk, maybe it doesn't. Either way, that's no reason to stop loving.
These signs come in the wake of recent threats made against the Jewish Community Center in Indy. This week, an arrest in that case. The signs also a way to unite different religions here together to stand up for one another.
And whenever anyone is threatened, I think the church has an obligation to respond, whether they're threatened because of their faith or their race or their orientation or anything. The church is called to step up and say, that's not right. When people are threatened seemingly because of their culture or especially religion, the church doubly has a responsibility to step up. In our country, if you attack any religion or any freedom of religion or try and get people to kind of quash their faith down, even if it's a completely different faith from ours or a sister faith like Judaism, it still has an effect on us, and that can have a real chilling effect. So it's just our obligation, as church, as Christians, but then just as neighbors, to stand up for each other and say, no, we've got your back. And these people who are trying to intimidate you, these people who are trying to make you fearful, you don't have to worry about them because you've got a lot more people on your side.
And that's what people living throughout these neighborhoods are displaying. Agree or disagree, their opinion and belief on display for the city to see.
Just put in another order for signs this morning. We got about 75 originally, and I think we're down to less than 20. So a number of our folks have taken them. Folks from our daycare have taken them. We've put it on Facebook, so people have just stopped in. They've heard from a neighbor. We've got nothing but positives about the signs, and it's great that we're able to do something like that and just help other people state their welcome very publicly.
And if you would like to put one of those signs in your yard, simply stop by Fairview Presbyterian during normal business hours.